I used to be a newspaper writer. I covered local sports. I even had a fishing column at one time. But at some point, I hit a wall and I had to change. Just everything changed in my life. You might say I had a revelation. I learned Sri Chinmoy meditation. I encountered this religious sacrament, Yopo. My whole life changed. I had to dedicate myself to poetry, to arts, to cultural revolution. Things have to change, and I have to be as much of a part of it as I possibly can. And that's what drew me towards Ybor City. I first thought I have to leave this job, and then no, not just this job, not just my current studies. I've got to actually leave Pasco County and go. I went to Clearwater because that was closer to where the political and artistic events were, but then no, that wasn't close enough yet. And I had to go to St. Petersburg, and I moved to St. Pete, and I was there for many years, and that was great. That was closer, it was more artistic, more convenient. You know, the Dali Museum eventually formed there. But then, you know, there still wasn't enough in St. Petersburg. I left my last newspaper job. I moved to downtown Tampa and lived in Stranger's Performance Gallery, the first performance gallery that was in Tampa. Also in those days, David Audette's Ground Zero was a performance gallery there. Both of those were before we brought out Arts Alive in Ybor City. But being in Tampa, I realized that it had always been my dream to be in the artistic colony that was Ybor City. What a beautiful, rich culture that was there. People from the islands, Spanish and Cubans and Italians and Asturianos. There were such a diverse culture. The smell of coffee roasting in the morning, and all the various artistic shops. And Three Birds was one of the best of those. I think of Sweet Charity also. And so many others. What a great group of people that Ybor City has attracted over the years, and many of these people, well, some of these people are still there. And a lot of people have always been drawn into Ybor City even though they live far away. Ybor is a place to go. Both before and after Three Birds in Ybor, and during, I was part of the Bay Area Renaissance Festival of Largo, and that's where I began wearing my costume, which many of you may have seen me in. I'm Brother Norman Orfeo, the Bard Monk of Cheshire, a medieval monk with a vow of poverty. Well, I could be medieval if I'm in the medieval fair, but when I'm in the Renaissance Festival, I'm a Renaissance monk, of course. I was in the Largo Ren Fest for many years, 10 or so, but and I haven't done very much Renaissance work since then, but I did do another long-running show of street theater. It was called Crazy Al's Haunted Hayride on the Long Hollow Bison Farm in Hadley, Massachusetts. We had over 100,000 paid customers over the 6 years that I did it every Halloween season for several weekends. And our commercial was banned from the local Nickelodeon because it was too scary. There I am feeding a vinyl dummy that looks something like a human being to a bison. But the show was even scarier than that because it had me in it. When I first auditioned, as soon as I walked into the audition, the farmer said, "What a great costume, you're hired." And I was just dressed as I normally am. Later on, for the scariness, they had to hire somebody to dress like me and wear a fake beard so that they could get a good scare out of it. I played a farmer whose land you shouldn't trespass on. We had some great festivals and parties in Ybor City. One of the best was the Artists and Writers Ball, David Audette's Artists and Writers Ball. And of course what that always makes me think of is the tropical heat waves there at the Cuban Club. Great place, a great venue where you can have many different bands on separate floors, separate stages. WMNF has always been kind of there in Ybor City, on the outskirts of Ybor City, and promoting the same type of artistic and cultural, political and spiritual ideals that have made Ybor City unique and a powerful force. Everyone who was exposed to that culture is still being affected by it now. And at WMNF, I first was on Dana Gilmour's program, which became The Freak Show, which became Deadhead Ed Green's show for many years, and of course I was on there many times with Ed, lots and lots of times for years. Once I was even on Kenny Kay's hip-hop program. I believe that was the first hip-hop program anywhere in the Southeast, and I felt honored to share the stage with him. Kenny Kay is no longer with us either. And I'd leave sometimes and go on tour during the year, during the summer especially. my own tours or the Grateful Dead tour, the hemp tour, rainbow gatherings. That's how I got to almost every state. At rainbow gatherings, I kept running into a beautiful woman who is now the director of these videos that I'm in. My collaborator in these videos. She does many others besides mine, and you should check us out on the Medicine Talks channel.